Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video. This one will be pertaining to Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains and some breaking news that just came out that actually sent shockwaves throughout the VRains fandom just about 6-7 hours ago. I've been sitting on my thoughts for a while. My thoughts are still kind of a jumbled mess, so I apologize if this video comes out that way as a jumbled mess, even though I think most of my videos are in some way, shape, or form just that, a mess of thoughts. But the news that we got, as you can tell by the title of this video, if you are unaware, is that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is all but confirmed. I don't want to say it's confirmed because it's not definitively confirmed, but it's all but confirmed to be ending on September 25th on episode 120. And the reason for that, as DMC, our great translator, noted in this tweet, is that an anime called A Hero no Sora, I believe it's a basketball anime, will start airing on TV Tokyo in October, and it will be taking VRains' time slot. What does that mean? Well, it means that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, which has been airing, I believe, consistently, at least for the last couple of years, on Wednesday nights in Japan, is no longer set to air in Japan on Wednesday nights, leading many people, including myself, to believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains' last air date will be on September 25th, which does equal episode 120. So I'm going to be going over my thoughts on this as a whole. I'm going to be going over why it's not 100% confirmed that VRains will be ending when this day hits. And I just really want to talk to you guys about this. I have horrible luck when it comes to uploading videos. I literally made a video late Monday night. I uploaded it, scheduled for the upload Tuesday morning, and that video was going over whether I thought that tweets from people that worked on Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, there was two different people who tweeted, a color supervisor who said she was packing up her office, and a director and storyboarder who had been working consistently on VRains for the last, well, as long as VRains has aired, and consistently on Yu-Gi-Oh! Dating back to at least Arc 5, stating that he was done after 116. 116 was the last episode that he was directing, and in that video I basically stated how I believe this is a heavy indicator that VRains might actually be ending way sooner than we all expected. For those of you that are also unaware, we were expecting VRains to go until March 2020. That's usually how it goes with Yu-Gi-Oh! It airs in April, and then 3 years later in March, that's when it comes to an end. That's how it worked with 5Ds, that's how it worked with Zexal, that's how it worked with Arc 5. VRains has just been very different. VRains has just been a very strange show, and I will say this in regards to Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. It's very similar to when Arc 5 was wrapping up. I think it was the whole day that Arc 5 ended. I just had a very, kind of empty feeling in my stomach, and when I read this news around noon today, and it's about 6:50 at the time of recording, it'll probably be a few hours later when I upload this, I still have that same feeling. I just have kind of a numbness in my stomach, and the truth is, you get so acquainted to characters for so long. With every Yu-Gi-Oh! Show becomes such a big part of my daily routine. I always have that to look forward to. Even if my week has been really tough, I always have whatever Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is airing to look forward to talk about with people, and I'm very blessed to be in that position, and I'm very blessed this community has been as amazing as it has been to me. And so whenever one of those shows are ending, I just get kind of a sad, numb feeling, and that's still kind of where I am right now. And I think when VRains is looked back on, I think there will be a majority of people, or not a majority of people, a small percentage of people that view VRains as a masterpiece. I think there will be a small percentage of people that view VRains as a dumpster fire, and I think the majority of people will view VRains as an average to good show. I think that's where VRains will be mostly perceived by a lot of people. And then, of course, you have some people that thought it was a 10 out of 10, and you have some people that probably think it's a 1 out of 10. I, myself, enjoyed the show quite a bit, and objectively speaking, if it does wrap up very quickly, I think the ending is going to feel kind of rushed. I don't know about Arc 5 levels of rush, but it will feel a little rushed, because you imagine Playmaker and I will probably be the last duel. If that duel goes 3 or 4 episodes, that will be the final duel. How is it going to end? Is I actually going to end as killed off? Is Playmaker? Is something going to happen to him? I mean, you have to imagine that there's no suspense now, right? You have to imagine that Playmaker is going to win. He's going to defeat I. And then what becomes of I? Does this show end with all 6 Ignis dead? it's very, very possible, and it would be kind of sad to see I die, and it would be kind of one of the more darker, sinister endings if that did happen. So we will have to wait and see. Maybe it will be a very good conclusion and wrap up of things. But for most characters, especially for the side characters, Season 3 will be looked upon very not so well executed for many characters. Some were lucky to get a duel. Some characters like Spectre weren't even lucky enough to get a line of dialogue. I think when you analyze the side characters down the stretch, it will be viewed upon poorly. But I will also say this about VRains. VRains had the most production issues that any Yu-Gi-Oh series has had, in my opinion. I think every Yu-Gi-Oh series has had its fair share of production issues and executive changes, but Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains had a director come out and state 3 different times on Twitter public apologies for having 4 recap episodes within, I believe it was like a 19-episode time period. 4 recap episodes. Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains was struggling mightily in the very beginning of production, and I think they kind of figured it out in Season 2, and then either they ran out of budget, they ran out of time, or they had to end kind of abruptly, and so they quickly had a very interesting plot twist at the beginning of Season 3, and it maybe didn't get as fleshed out as many of us would have liked to see. I was not someone who wanted this show to go on to March 2020 just so it could go on. I wanted it to go on because I thought they could flesh out the other Ignis. I thought you could flesh out Aoi Zaizen, some of the other side characters. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, and to have to face the fact that it's ending so soon and so abruptly seems kind of unfair in comparison to the other shows, but it is what it is, and it's as simple as that. Here's the thing. I'm about 90 to 95% sure VRains is ending. As a few people have pointed out on Twitter, there has not been a definitive announcement that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is coming to an end. There has not been a definitive statement that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is coming to an end in September or in the near future. That being said, there is still a chance that Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains will be moved to a different day. Maybe in October, VRains will start airing on Fridays or Saturdays. Maybe in October, VRains will start airing at a different time on Wednesdays. As of now, there's no scheduled time slot on TV Tokyo's network. To my knowledge, that lists Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, which is why a lot of people feel like it is over, because you can see the whole slot for Wednesday on TV Tokyo, and it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains was moved up an hour. There's just no slot for Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. But maybe, as we get closer to October, we'll get the days for Friday or Saturday or Sunday, and we'll see, oh, well, there's Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. Most likely not, because again, we had 2 staffers state that they were done with the show, one packing up their office, one done animating, who was consistently animating the show. So most likely not. But another possibility is Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains takes a month or a month and a half off, and then in late November, it comes back and it goes for another 15, 16 episodes. Those are 2 possibilities, and those are 2 ways that maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains does not necessarily end in September. Do I believe those are going to happen? I do not, unfortunately. As much as I would love to believe it, I think there's too much data at this point pushing towards VRains ending in September. But you also have to remember, Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now is in such uncharted territory. Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains has just been a weird show. Started late, started in May as opposed to April. The openings and endings did not change together. It wasn't even consistent with the endings doubling the openings. It's going to end with 5 endings and 3 openings, which is a little odd. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7, which normally gets announced, a new Yu-Gi-Oh! show gets announced in December, got announced back in July, and now it looks like it's going to end 6 months prior to when we expected it to end. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has just been we really are in whitewater territory, uncharted territory with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, which is a little scary because we really have no idea what to expect, but at the same time, it's a little exciting because it is kind of new to us. It's brand new to me, and I think that is really, really cool. We know that VRains is getting its final sound duel at the end of October. We know there's a VRains-related booster pack that's coming out in January, so I guess there's not going to be any anime going on for that long. Who really knows? All we know about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 is that it is going to start in 2020. We're assuming April 2020. Maybe it'll start in January 2020 or February 2020. I don't expect any Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 news until Jump Festa, which is in December. But if VRains really is ending at the end of September, does that mean we are going to have no Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime news for 2 months and no Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime at all? I guess maybe. I really have no idea what's going on. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about this because even though it does really look like Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains is coming to an end, I'm not trying to get anyone's hopes up by saying that there is a chance Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains will just be moved to a different day, a different time slot, or take like a 1 month break and come back in like November or December. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up by saying that, but I do want to reiterate that there has not yet been a definitive announcement that VRains is ending. If you want my personal opinion on the matter, I do believe that VRains is ending at the end of September. About 2 months ago, I was very confident that VRains would go until March 2020, but with everything that's happened, with the V-Jump issue saying it's approaching its climax, now all of a sudden it's reached its climax, with the wording of the Playmaker and I duel in the summary saying that that's going to be the final battle. We thought maybe the final battle between Playmaker and I. No, it seemed like we should have taken that literally, like this is going to be the final battle of the show. With the wording that has been used in the Revolver and Soulburner duel, it really does feel like this is the end. I hope it's not, but my personal belief is that VRains will be ending at the end of September, and man, it's going to be weird. No Yu-Gi-Oh! For 6 months. I'm a little nervous about my channel. It's going to be kind of choppy waters for a bit. But yeah, I mean, I'll talk more about that at a later time. Maybe I'll probably do, if VRains does definitely end in late September, I'll probably do an update video in early October to go over my thoughts and what my plans are for the next 6. I mean, 6 months is a long time. My channel very well could be buried even before Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 starts. So, you know, I'm a little nervous about that, and it's just sad. It's always sad to say goodbye to a show, and to think that there won't be any Yu-Gi-Oh! For that long is sad. But if there's one consolation to take from all of this, if there's one tiny little reason why you should feel good about this, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 should be an absolute masterpiece. If VRains truly is ending in September, if they've already started production in July, they have almost a year, or at least more than half a year, to focus all of their assets, all of Studio Gallup's assets, on a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. The animation should be crisp. The writing should be amazing. It should be a really beautifully fleshed out story, and maybe it will have that Arc 5-ness where all of the older shows are referenced. Maybe there will be a nostalgia factor in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 where, you know, all the other shows have some sort of role to play, and if that's the case, then we might not need to say goodbye to the Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains cast just yet. But guys, you let me know all your thoughts on this. I mean, this has been a wild, wild day. This was an announcement that I was starting to get a little nervous about. I was really starting to believe that this was coming, especially after the VRains staffers made those tweets. And literally, I made that video public going over those tweets, and 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes later, this news broke all over Twitter, and it has been a pretty wild few hours, and I am really interested to hear what you guys have to say. So please comment all your thoughts down below. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, James Rose, Samuel Stark, Thomas Adderley, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Vincent Van Der Veen, Jordan Osceola, Smith620, RedEye, FrostReaper, Jorge Leon, Melinda Phantom, and Blue Maiden 28, and to my Diamond tier patrons Jesse Wood, Garrett Palmer, Galladiator, and Ben Hartz, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons Syn Cloud, Matthew Kennedy x2, Joss Rivers, and Chris Swan. Thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon and has become a channel member. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate it and how much it helps me out. Thank you to everyone who just watches my videos. I cannot believe that we are really in the end game of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. It's still the summer of 2019. I mean, I did not think I'd be saying that until February of 2020. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.